Hello, this is your screencast detailing the tasks that have been set for you for your second week of teaching, week 11. So if you go on to Learning Materials tab and then 2020-21, scroll down and you'll see week 11 Primary Education. Okay, again you need to click on the week 11 Asynchronous Teaching folder, and this will take you through to a Padlet, okay, which is what we've used to set up the tasks for the asynchronous learning for week 11. So the first task that I want you to do is for you to go and research into your old primary school, okay, and want you to find out and see where you can find what they have spent their funding on for the primary sport and PE premium funding. Okay, it might be quite difficult for you to find. You're going to have to be patient. You're going to have to really look into that website. Okay, it is a government requirement and from the funders who provide the funding for the primary sport premium for that school to say how they are spending that funding. Okay, really important that that school does that. You might find that some schools do it better than others. Some schools will have a full-on PE policy that they will implement and they will detail how they're spending the funding. Others will probably just give you key headline figures. For example, they might spend £8,000 of the £18,000 on professional development, but they're not going to say what or who it's for. For example, is it for teaching assistants? Is it for class teachers? Is it for Key Stage 1? Okay, that's the trouble with it when schools don't put into detail what they're going to spend the funding on. Okay, so once you've found that funding, I want you to make notes on this and add your thoughts as to what the school is doing. You know, does it link with any strategies or other literature that you might have read or come across in previous modules, or just within your independent study? Once you've done this, I want you to look into another primary school, either from within the same area, or it might be one that you've coached in or volunteered in, okay, or it might be from a completely different area. It's up to you. But what I want you to do is compare how that school is spending their funding on, okay? Is it similar? Is it completely different? Have they given more information? Okay, a lot of information there for you to find. So I want you to compare and contrast how the schools are spending the funding, okay, and what are your thoughts on that. Second task that I want you to do involves some key reading. Okay, this is from the Primary PE and Sport Premium Survey. All right, so the most recent and up-to-date research. It's a large document, but all I want you to do is read pages 7, 8 and 9. And on that you will find what's called the key findings. Okay, so this is what government are finding that is happening with schools spending the primary sport premium. Okay, so it's probably going to give you key headline figures, facts and figures, what's working, what's not working. Okay, and from this you'll be able to see what schools are doing, whether it's relevant to the research or not. Okay, so again, within your assessment, these are key, you can use a research report like this within your assessment. Okay, so get used to finding out where these readings are, how you access them, and then how you reference them as well. Okay, get into those good habits early on within the module. Your third task is all to do with the Youth Sport Trust, okay, and their strategy. So their strategy runs for 4 years and it's from 2018 to 2022. At the moment, what they're doing is they're calling a half-time strategy. So we're halfway through that strategy. And what I want you to do as well is skim read the latest update. Okay, so again, if you click onto the logo and the website link, that will take you through to this document. And as you can see here, it's not just text. Okay, there are key facts and figures that you might find really interesting. Okay, that maybe links again to how schools are spending their money, what the research is saying as well. Okay, because it's really evident and really important that whenever sort of taxpayers' money goes into public funding, we have to evidence how they're spending the money, and you've got to go back to government and say, yes, this is working, this isn't working, and what potentially the reasons are as well. Okay, so doing this will hopefully come up with some different ideas and thoughts as to how you, if you were the primary PE coordinator, how you would spend the funding. Okay, because that's going to take you on to the next task. So as you're skim reading, you might want to make notes. Okay, think about what it is that is being documented within the strategy. Your next task is all about you evidencing the impact of the primary PE and sport premium. Okay, and I want you to consider that if you were the primary PE coordinator for the local primary, how you would do this. So this document here is actually ones that PE teachers, PE coordinators are having to fill in to explain to the funders, okay, who I'm circling here, okay, how they're spending the funding. All right. There's going to be some parts of the document that you're not going to be able to do. You won't know the information. Okay. But what I want you to do is read and familiarise yourself with how primary schools are being asked to evidence the funding that they've been allocated. Okay. And in essence, I want you to have a go at answering the 5 key indicators. All right. So how you're going to spend £18,000 over 5 key areas. All right. So one of the key areas is all around competition. So what would you do to suggest to that school as to how they spend their primary sport premium? Okay. Is it on festivals for Key Stage 1? All right. Is it interest, so form v form competition for Key Stage 2? Okay. Is it specific sports that you'd like to focus on? Okay. That may be linked to increasing participation, or it might be something around gifted and talented. It's up to you. Okay. But it's you having a sense of how you'd spend £18,000. All right. Once you've done this, I want you to save your document onto your folders within Shoe, okay? And then I want you to upload it, okay, to the Padlet. So to do this, as I'm circling here, where it says Add Post, okay, you double-click anywhere and you can drag your folders in from where you saved them, all right? But I want you to put your name on it, so Ben and I will look at this and we'll comment on how you've maybe thought about spending the funding and why. Okay, and as with anything, think about where you're going to enhance your responses. So with relevant research, okay, and industry sources. So utilising the work that you've read to underpin within within your spend as well. Your final task is then to think about how you might learn in future. So we've given you some readings. This one task here is about you listening to a podcast, all right? And it might be the first time that you've listened to a podcast, but actually it's another way of listening and undertaking research that is relevant and up to date. All right. And this podcast has been delivered through the Yorkshire Sport Foundation. So in essence, our active partnership for the region. Okay. Better known as, or were known as, the County Sport Partnership. So the Yorkshire Sport Foundation strategically oversees sport, physical activity and physical education within Yorkshire and the Humber. So a really big county, one of the biggest in the country, and a huge amount of work that they do. So within this, the podcast is an hour. It might be a different way for you to listen to it. You might listen to it chunks of time. Okay, you might listen to it walking to university. It might just be on in the background while you're doing some cleaning. Okay, it's just another way to get you thinking about researching and into the specific area. Okay, so the podcast I want you to listen to is headed Primary PE. So if you click onto the website link here, it will take you through to it. And again, make notes on what's being discussed and how it's relevant to this week's teaching. Okay, because hopefully you'll start to join together some of the dots and crossing the T's and dotting the I's as to what happens within the world of primary PE. Okay, there are also the podcasts available under the Yorkshire Sport Foundation that you might find of use and interest to this module. All right, those are your tasks for this week's teaching. Okay, thanks.